Hi guys, I'm Jim and this is JNR Woodworking, and we're going to do a few little updates on the deck, show you where I am and what issues I've been having with it. If you're getting really bored with this deck thing, let me know. But I do have a couple issues with this nailer and my drill combo I bought. Both of these I mentioned yesterday in a video. This I used. I had two issues with it, and they were both my fault. It was no fault of this nailer at all. Let me tip the camera down so you can see this, and I'll show you what I did wrong. And I'm sure if you watched the video, you'll notice I had a lot of trouble putting the nails in the nailer. And let me show you why. Okay, starters, the nailer. Wonderful. I thoroughly enjoy this thing, let me tell you. It runs out of nails. It stops with 4 nails left in the nailer. And that's because you do not want to dry fire this thing. You can damage something, probably the piston or the ram that actually drives the nails out of it. So it stops when you have 4 nails left in the cartridge. Well, if I can get these back in there. Well, let me see if I can explain it to you out of the carriage. When they're in here, they're on an angle. And it stops at 4. Because if it stopped with any less than that, you'd have even a worse problem. When you go to load this, if you keep it tipped down, these 4 nails will stay in place. But I did yesterday, I tipped it up and these nails slid down. So when you tip it back down, this sharp point on the nail catches in here and it tips. It gets stuck. Then you can't get your new nails to slide down in because this is jammed in here sideways. So all you got to do to fill this thing when it runs out of nails, and you got 4 in there, this pulls back and it locks. Just keep it tipped down. Don't tip it up. That's when they slide back and you have problems. So it was no issue of the nailer at all. This thing is awesome. I love it. If any of you guys are in the market for a nailer, hey, this is what you want to buy right here. I would never go back to a air nailer. I would buy these. They also have these in a finish nailer. Unfortunately, they're the same price as these. I would think they'd be a little cheaper, but they're well worth the money, believe me. Now, the other thing I mentioned was this combo pack I bought. I mentioned it came with a drill, 2 batteries, a charger, and this impact driver, which I said I thought was useless. Well, it turns out after using it for the last couple of years, if you've got a screw that's stuck like in a deck or something outside and it tends to rust itself in and you can't get it out with a regular drill, this thing will take it out. That impact shock, the same as a impact gun for taking bolts and nuts apart. That shock that this thing puts in every time you push on it breaks that screw loose and it'll spit them right out. Another thing I use this all the time. Every screw I put in, I use this. If you're putting screws in and you want the heads flush with the top of the wood, you don't have to drill a countersink anymore. This thing, on its impact action, will actually drive that screw flush. You don't have to use a countersink. That really works good. So I wanted to clear them issues up. There was no fault with either one of these products. They work excellent. And I would strongly endorse them, if I can say that. They do not sponsor me. No one sponsors this channel. I buy all this stuff, and I'll give you an honest opinion on it. I bought a sliding chop saw. My next video will be speaking on that. That I don't care for too much. I think I'll end up taking that back and upgrading to a better one, and I'll go on them issues when I get to that video. But let's go out to the deck and I'll show you where I'm at. Okay, we're out on the deck. Well, obviously you can see it, and you can tell that the edge is not very straight. Well, there's a reason for that. You waste too much time cutting each board as you put it on. This part of the deck has already been cut right through here. And what you do is you put all the boards on, let them overhang, snap a line and cut them all at once. Now you notice over here up against the house, these first two boards I did cut on an angle, only because my saw won't go up against the house. The body hits and you can't, I think it stops like 6 inches from the house. So I cut the first two boards. Now I'll snap a line and cut the rest of them. I got that done last night from this transition point here. You can see where the decking changes angles. And this transition point here. Now we're working out on this part now. Now this is the next section I got to go. You can see I've already got half of them cut. This half I got to go yet. But when you put a line down there to saw on, I never use a chalk line. When you snap a chalk line, it makes a chalk mark about 1/8 of an inch wide. So how do you really know where to cut? You can see I got a yellow string on there. I'll stretch the string out and I'll put a pencil mark on every board right under that string. Then I'll move the string. I got a 6-foot level here. I'll put the level on all the marks and draw a line. Then I have a small pencil line to follow. Gives you a much better job. Now to cut all of these boards that you see with 45s on both sides, I don't know if I'm in frame or not, but as I cut these, I would cut 145. I would bring this over on top of this deck, which is already done like we got down there, and I would transfer this line up on this board. I can show you how I did it over here where the boards are hanging over. There's a very expensive tool I bought to do that with. Now let's say this board is hanging over like it would have been over there, like it would have been over here. So I got this tool that I bought. Oh, it's expensive, but it works very well. It's a piece of plywood. And all you do is you cut a slot in it that fits over the board that you're using. Slide this, get this string out of my way, put it tight up against the face of the boards that you want it marked. You got this sticking out here on an angle. Slide it up on there, push it tight against these boards. You draw a line. Now that line will line up exactly with this edge every time. That was expensive. Usually when I get rid of the job, I throw the part away because it's too hard to store them, and I can make a new one later. Now let me shake you a little bit here. I have to cut the edge of these off Well, it gets pretty dark over there. All the way around the deck. And I want to cut them off flush with the outside of the rim joist. That's where you use your very expensive tool again. Slide it over your decking, butt it up against your rim joist. You draw a line, and that's where you cut. Pretty simple. So I'm going to try to get the rest of this done today. I got to finish that cut, run them out on a 45. Again, these will change transition from this direction to this direction. Now to get this line on here straight, I don't know if I can get it in frame or not. To get that line square from the house, I had my father-in-law come down again. And what you do is you start at this corner, you measure across the house 6 feet. You put a pencil line. Then you come from this corner, you come down here. Let me wiggle you around. You come down here 8 feet. And you take a tape measure, you hold it on this 6 foot mark, you come over down here, and where these two lines line up at 10 feet diagonally, that is exactly square. There's no way you could do that with a framing square that's only 2 foot long. Now you've got a square that's 8 feet long. Works very good. A couple of tips. Most of you guys are already going to know that. I guess I better get to work. So I'm going to go back inside. Oh, back in where it's a little warmer. I got to get to work, so that's about it. I hope some of these tips help some of you people out. I know most of you guys already know it. If you're getting tired of all these updates on the deck, let me know. Yeah, I'll gladly stop. I think all I'm going to get done on that deck this year is the deck. Cover it up with plastic and let it set through the winter. If it doesn't dry out, I can't put Thompson's water seal on it. If I don't get it sealed before winter, it's going to turn dark on me before spring. So, I don't know, I guess I'm just going to cover it up and let it set. Rains about every other day. I'm just glad I'm not down south where they got so much flooding and mass destruction and deaths. I tell you, my heart goes out to them people. We're praying for them every day. So don't forget to subscribe. If you got some comments or questions, please feel free. It's Jim's Fix-It Shop at gmail.com or JNRwoodworking2, that's the number 2, at gmail.com. I'm more than happy to answer your questions. I'm working with a gal right now on her snapper. We're emailing back and forth on what to do and how to fix it. I hope this turns out. I've got to mail out my gadget to Captain Craze to check him out. He's got a channel. I don't know what he's got on it. And I guess, check me out on Facebook. I still don't believe I did that. So if you're looking for a nailer, I strongly suggest one of these. Rigid tools are, like I said, the warranty on these tools are just unbelievable. And go buy a tool. They got a deal going right now at Home Depot. So don't forget to subscribe. Shoot me some questions, please, and we'll talk to you all later.